It's amazing, isn't it, when you think about it? A bit of a baby boom going. Now, I know as you were growing up, you had a bit of a heart for the next generation and so on. You were into football, I know that. Tell us a little bit about your experiences there. I mean, you were playing and coaching.
Yeah, well, when I was a kid, I grew up in Bassendean, which is working class factory suburb, wherever it is out there. I can't even remember which direction it is now. And really all I wanted to do was to play league football for Swan Districts, which is the local team. But I didn't play football for Swan Districts, and you might think because I became a busy doctor. No, it's because I wasn't good enough. Actually, I did play one league game, but I was pretty much a reserves player. But my best fun really was playing. I loved playing, but I had 6 years of coaching. I coached at the University Football Club, initially the A Colts and then the A grade. Won a few premierships and had just the most fabulous time. And those young men, they're almost like sons to me. I see them and we did a lot of hugs and great to see you. It's a great relationship and I did love it.
Because you would sometimes end up saying, I want to be, in a sense, more than a coach and more than just the football game. And I think you kicked off having some, dinners, I think, or something. Yeah,
so what happened, Aidan, was actually I was sitting in church one day having communion and I thought, I don't want to over-spiritualise it, but I thought, communion is such an intense moment when you think that God treats us as really special. Like all these people here, all unique and special people, and God sees the uniqueness and special. And I thought, I am treating these players like my players. I want them to feel special. So I went home and spoke to my wife and we organised these dinners. So let's say there's 28 in the squad or so. I decided to get them around in groups of 4. And they would come around for a 3-course meal to our house, which Jackie would cook, which is obviously why I asked her permission. Nice bottle of wine, open fire, and here's the thing. Talk about football was forbidden. We only talked about them, What are you studying? What are you interested in? Tell us about your family. Just to make them feel special. And now we have reunions, and they don't come up to me and say, I'll never forget that grand final, the bus trip, etc. They say, Bruce, I'll never forget those dinners. They say, how's Jackie? I'll never forget those dinners at your place and how special they made me feel. And it struck me in that whole process about how when you're coaching and any form of mentoring, school teacher or even with your nephews and nieces, people who aren't your kids, they're like in your hand like that, particularly coaching or teaching. They're in your hand and you can really influence them. I didn't actually realise that at the time. If I'd known back then how much those young men were watching me in my role as a husband and a dad, I'm not sure I would have. I knew I wasn't such a great husband and dad, but they were watching. They got their radar out to see how I'm going, and they've told me that. I've learnt that since then. You have them in your hand, and it's such a responsibility. And with the Fathering Project, we really do try to teach men not just to be better dads, but to be better father figures, no matter what other kids are in your orbit. And that turned out to be a great thrill, and I'm grateful to God that laid it on my heart at that moment in communion. Really a special kind of touch.
So some of this ended up you writing this book, which really kicked things off. This Fathering from the Fast Lane. Practical ideas for busy dads. You ended up interviewing over 75 dads, in fact over 400 people, because there was often wives and family involved as well. And what I might do, I was